The stale, recycled air of the airport lounge hung heavy, a testament to the unforeseen delays that had plagued my morning. Rain lashed against the terminal windows, a relentless Seattle downpour that mirrored the growing unease in my gut. I was supposed to be halfway to New York by now, preparing for a crucial board meeting that couldn't be rescheduled. My flight, originally set for 8 a.m., had been pushed back twice, and now it was finally boarding. I clutched my carry-on, a worn leather bag that had seen more airports than most people had seen cities, and joined the sluggish line. My phone buzzed with an urgent email from Sarah, my executive assistant, reminding me of the tight schedule. "Don't worry, Sarah," I muttered to myself, though a flicker of doubt danced in my mind. Even as CEO of Meridian Tech, a company I'd poured 2 decades of my life into building, I was still subject to the unpredictable whims of air travel. As I approached the gate, a heated exchange was already unfolding. A young couple, looking flustered and agitated, were gesticulating wildly at the gate agent. Their voices, though muffled by the general airport hum, carried an edge of desperation. I overheard snippets. "Our honeymoon. Connecting flight. This is unacceptable." The gate agent, a tired-looking woman with a name tag that read Brenda, was trying to calm them, her expressions a mixture of sympathy and exasperation. Finally, my turn came. I handed Brenda my boarding pass, a small sense of relief washing over me as she scanned it. "Everything seems in order, Mr. Henderson," she said, her voice strained. "Just a moment, though. There's been a slight seat rearrangement due to an unforeseen issue with another passenger. We've upgraded you to aisle 12C. Aisle 12C. I blinked. I had specifically booked a window seat in first class, a small luxury I afforded myself after years of economy travel. "I believe I had 4A in first class," I stated, trying to keep my tone even. Brenda's shoulders slumped. "Yes, Mr. Henderson, you did, but we've had a last-minute request from a family with a medical emergency. They need to sit together in first class, and due to the full flight, your seat was the only one available that could accommodate them." She paused, her gaze pleading. "It's truly an emergency, sir. A child with a severe allergy needs to be near. Their parents." A wave of frustration, sharp and immediate, washed over me. This was the last thing I needed. My schedule was already in tatters. And now this? I was about to politely but firmly refuse, explaining the criticality of my meeting and the premium I paid for first class. But then I saw the young couple from before, their faces etched with despair. They were holding hands, and the young woman was visibly tearing up. It was them, and just behind them, a small pale child in a wheelchair looking frail and exhausted. My immediate reaction was to uphold my right, to demand the service I'd paid for. But the image of that child and the raw desperation of the parents gave me pause. The rain continued its relentless drumming outside, a fitting backdrop to the internal storm brewing within me. This wasn't just about my comfort or my schedule anymore. This was about something far more fundamental, human need. And I knew, deep down, what I had to do. The decision, though difficult, felt right the moment I voiced it. "All right, Brenda," I said, a sigh escaping my lips. "I'll take 12C. Make sure that family gets to sit together." The words felt heavy, yet a strange lightness also settled over me. Brenda's eyes widened in surprise, a flicker of gratitude replacing her weariness. "Thank you, Mr. Henderson. Truly, thank you. You have no idea what this means to them." She quickly reprinted my boarding pass. As I walked towards the gate, I passed the family. The father, a tall man with tired eyes, was gently pushing the wheelchair. The mother, her face tear-stained but now filled with a glimmer of hope, was speaking softly to the child. Our eyes met for a fleeting second, and I offered a small, reassuring nod. They didn't recognize me, of course, just another passenger, unknowingly caught in their emergency. The walk down the jet bridge felt longer than usual. The distinct smell of airplane fuel and disinfectant filled the air. When I reached my new seat, 12C, in the middle of the economy section, I immediately noticed the cramped legroom and the rather loud chattering from the row behind me. It was a stark contrast to the spacious, quiet comfort of first class. I settled in, trying to make myself comfortable, but my knees were practically touching the seat in front of me. The flight attendants began their safety demonstration, their voices a practiced drone. I pulled out my laptop, intending to get a head start on some emails, but the close quarters made it difficult to focus. My mind kept drifting back to the board meeting, the critical presentation I needed to deliver. Was this sacrifice truly worth it? Would my absence from the initial first-class amenities somehow signal weakness, or worse, a lack of prioritization to my board? I knew it was an irrational thought, but the pressure of being a CEO often amplified such anxieties. Suddenly, a commotion erupted a few rows ahead. A woman, her face flushed and voice shrill, was loudly complaining to a flight attendant about her seat. "This is outrageous. I paid for a window seat, and you put me next to this behemoth," she shrieked, gesturing rudely at the large man next to her. The flight attendant, a young woman named Emily, tried to calm her down, but the woman was unrelenting. "I demand a better seat. I am a premium customer." My annoyance flared. Such entitlement, especially after witnessing genuine hardship just moments before. I tried to ignore it, focusing on my laptop screen, but her voice grated on my nerves. Then, to my astonishment, the woman turned her attention to me. "Excuse me, sir. You look perfectly capable of moving. Why don't you offer your seat to a lady who clearly deserves it more?" I looked up, surprised. My brow furrowed. "I'm sorry, I'm quite comfortable here," I replied, trying to maintain a polite but firm tone. "Comfortable?" she scoffed. "In this cramped space? Don't be ridiculous. It's obvious you're just trying to hog a good seat. I saw you board late. You probably just got lucky with this seat. Now be a gentleman and move." Her words were like a fuse igniting a slow burn within me. My patience, already thin from the delays and the inconvenience, was rapidly eroding. I was a CEO, a person responsible for thousands of employees, and this woman was speaking to me as if I were a petty squatter. The irony was almost comical, given that I had willingly given up a superior seat for a truly deserving cause. I took a deep breath, trying to compose myself, knowing that a public confrontation was the last thing I needed. But the look on her face, the sheer audacity of her demand, made it increasingly difficult to remain silent. The woman's voice continued to pierce the cabin, drawing the attention of other passengers. The flight attendant, Emily, looked utterly mortified, trying to defuse the situation. But the woman, emboldened by the lack of immediate compliance, pressed on. "Are you going to move, or do I need to call the crew manager? This is unacceptable service." My blood was simmering. I could feel the eyes of dozens of passengers on me, some curious, some sympathetic, some just wanting the ordeal to end. The large man next to her, whom she had insulted, sat silently, his face a mask of embarrassment. It was clear she wasn't going to let this go. I slowly closed my laptop, the click echoing in the sudden lull in the woman's tirade. I looked at her, my gaze steady. "Madam," I began, my voice calm, but with an underlying steel that usually reserved for difficult board negotiations. "I paid for a first-class seat. I chose to give it up, so a family with a medical emergency could sit together. I am now in this seat. I will not be moving." A ripple of murmurs went through the nearby rows. The woman, however, seemed undeterred, her face twisting into a sneer. "Oh, a medical emergency, how convenient. A likely story to cling to your measly economy seat. Don't think I haven't seen your kind before, trying to get away with something." That was it. The line had been crossed. My hand instinctively went to the inner pocket of my blazer, pulling out my wallet. From it I carefully extracted a small, polished metal badge. It wasn't flashy, just a simple, elegantly designed logo, with my company's name, Meridian Tech. Below it, in clear, bold letters, read, CEO, Richard Henderson. I held it up, not arrogantly, but with a quiet conviction. The woman's eyes, previously filled with contempt, fixated on the badge. Her mouth, opened to launch another insult, slowly closed. The color drained from her face, replaced by a ghastly pallor. Her eyes darted from the badge to my face, then back to the badge, a flicker of recognition, then dawning horror. Crossing her features, a gasp escaped her lips, barely audible. You're Richard Henderson?" she stammered, her voice a mere whisper compared to her previous shouts. The aggressive fire in her eyes had been extinguished, replaced by a deer in headlights. Terror. The flight attendant, Emily, who had been hovering anxiously, also saw the badge. Her eyes widened, and a small, almost imperceptible nod of recognition passed between us. The passengers around us, sensing the sudden shift in atmosphere, leaned forward, eager to catch every detail of this unexpected turn. The silence that descended upon our section of the plane was thick, punctuated only by the hum of the aircraft. The woman, who moments before had been a raging tempest, was now frozen, utterly speechless, her previous bravado having evaporated into thin air. The woman remained utterly silent, her gaze fixed on my CEO badge as if it were a venomous snake. Her face, still pale, was now a mixture of embarrassment and profound shock. The flight attendant, Emily, quickly stepped in, her voice polite but firm. "Madam, please return to your seat. We are preparing for takeoff." The woman, without a word, slowly retreated to her own seat, her head bowed, avoiding eye contact with anyone. The loud man next to her offered a small, grateful smile in my direction, which I returned with a slight nod. As the plane taxied down the runway, I put my badge back in my wallet. The brief, intense confrontation had settled, leaving behind a strange calm. The woman's reaction wasn't about the badge itself, I realized, but what it represented: authority, recognition, and perhaps a reminder of the power dynamics in the world. It was a stark lesson in how quickly perceived status could alter behavior. Throughout the flight, not another peep came from the woman. The atmosphere in our section remained quiet, almost reverent. Emily, the flight attendant, came by a few minutes after takeoff. "Mr. Henderson," she whispered, a genuine smile on her face. "Thanks, you. I've never seen anything quite like that." She then subtly offered me a complimentary first-class meal and a glass of sparkling water, which I accepted with a quiet "thank you." It was a small gesture, but it spoke volumes. I spent the rest of the flight working on my presentation, the earlier anxieties about my board meeting now overshadowed by a different kind of reflection. The incident had been an unexpected detour, a moment of conflict that, in a bizarre way, had offered clarity. It wasn't about power or status for me. It was about doing the right thing, even when it was inconvenient. The initial decision to give up my seat for the family felt more validated than ever. Upon landing in New York, as passengers began to disembark, I saw the family with the child in the wheelchair being assisted by a flight attendant. The father caught my eye and offered a tired but sincere smile, a silent acknowledgment of the kindness shown. It was a fleeting interaction, but it resonated deeply. As I made my way through the bustling terminal, the thought of the woman on the plane resurfaced. I wondered if she would reflect on her behavior, if the momentary freeze caused by my CEO badge would lead to any genuine introspection. Perhaps not. But for me, the incident reinforced a fundamental belief. True leadership wasn't just about titles or positions. It was about character, empathy, and the willingness to prioritize human need over personal convenience. The journey to the board meeting had become more than just a business trip. It was a powerful reminder of the values that truly mattered, both in the corporate world and in the everyday interactions of life. I walked out into the brisk New York air, ready to face the meeting, feeling a quiet confidence that had nothing to do with my title and everything to do with the journey I had just completed